A company holds an investor conference and releases important information. You want to profit on this news, but you're not sure how to do so. Hi, I'm Mike Bellafiore, co-founder of SME Capital, and we're a proprietary trading firm located in Midtown Manhattan. And I'm also the author of the trading classic One Good Trade and the Playbook. In this video, see how two firm traders team to make a profitable trade after Disney holds its Investor Day Conference 2020. Let's get to work on sharing these important trading lessons so you can grow your trading account.
Tim and I will be presenting a trade today that we took in Disney on 12/11, and this will be dip and rip, gap up to all-time highs playbook. So for the trade strategy, for what gets us interested is we want elevated R-vol, a strong after hours and pre-market range with levels to trade off of. And then you really want to see breakouts have elevated volume compared to the pullbacks and consolidations. For your entry criteria, we want to see a dip below important support levels that fails to hold below this level for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Can be longer, can be a little shorter, but on average, that's kind of what we look for, like 1 or 2 5-minute bars. And you're looking for an entry with a lower high with a higher low on the 1 minute time frame, kind of anticipating a reclaim of pre-market support and a move to the upside. And then our reasons to take profits would be drastic changes in the tape, an ATR move is made, we approach major support levels, or our trailing stop is hit, which in this case I was using a 5-minute chart with a hold below the 21 EMA as a major reason to sell.
Yeah, so this is company-specific news, but still important to look at the big picture. So at this point, we're seeing SPY just broke out of a consolidation around that 360 level, made a new all-time high, and then pulled back a little bit, which was the day that we saw some weakness overall in the markets. And these lower time frame charts will just show that a little clearer as well. So we see 2 days before this trade was very weak and had an inside day and gapping down going into the trade. But like I said, this is specific news to Disney, so it doesn't really affect our trade as much. And then this is just on the 5-minute. So this was the investor day for Disney, and that was the catalyst, and it was gapping to an all-time high after this announcement. So the major highlights were the Disney Plus subscribers were up to 86.8 million, and this is from 73 million in quarter four. And they also mentioned that they project to have between 230 million and 260 million paid subscribers by 2024. Matt will touch on the reactions from the sell side and some more color on the investor day, but the chart below is an important thing to point out. And you can see just with the top half of the chart, the trajectory for Netflix and Disney to get to that 86 million subscribers. And it took Disney Plus just 1 year to do that, where it took Netflix 9 years to do that. So that just shows how important and how significant this is for the stock. And then just some metrics. Their ATR was 3.97, average daily volume 9.69 million, institutional ownership 65.7%, and you'll see the R-vol at the point of the trade was elevated on this day, very elevated.
Yeah, the ATRs, or I mean the R-vol is around 13 times on the day of this trade.
Yeah.
Let me just say that in simpler terms. They have a product. That product is doing much better than was expected. That product is an important product for their growth. The street did not expect for them to do this well with this product. And because of that, this gets big money traders to be thinking about buying this particular name.
Yes, exactly.
And so we can swap out Disney streaming sales with another company that has a product that's doing much better than expected and see a similar, not the same, a similar pattern potentially.
Yes, completely agree with that.
Alrighty, so yeah, just a little more new or color on that catalyst. It was up about 2% on the day, like we said, from their streaming and subscription numbers being so strong. The sell side banks, a lot of the major banks such as Wells Fargo and Morgan Stanley, gave the stock price target upgrades. And leading up to this trade, we'll see on the charts in coming slides that in a technical, the stock had been in a strong technical uptrend leading into these earnings, giving it another reason to have buyers interested and already supporting the stock going into this earnings and investor day.
If you want to learn 3 more real world setups that our traders use, including the simple setup that we teach all of our new traders, and the setup that turned one of our traders into a 7-figure big money earner, check out the free webinar that we're currently running. Just go ahead and click the link that should be appearing now at the top right hand corner of your screen. That will open up the free registration page in a new window, so don't worry, you won't lose this video. You can also visit tradingworkshop.com to register for this free intensive workshop. You're going to learn more in a couple of hours from this trading workshop than from years of online education.
So here we can see the technical analysis of Disney. You can see this run up from the prior 2 months, November and December, into this previous all-time highs, just under the 160 level. Can look a little closer here on the hourly. We can see we had a strong gap up off this news and then a strong day as well, but we've had this long base leading into the day, which really made us interested that we are like, this had been channeling for so long now, and this so many events and catalysts coming up for this that when this gets real volume, it can really break out and move.
Yeah, just to add with that too, Disney was a stock that a lot of us were watching that entire week leading into it because of that consolidation that Matt mentioned.
Exactly. And then you can see there were a lot of intraday levels that were pretty significant. We can zoom in a little more here on the pre-market. So we had these levels at like 160, 450. You can see in the pre-market we were testing off of. And then we kind of had this channel area between 167 and 168 off in the pre-market with a move into 170. So these 3 levels are really important for these opening drives and for potential reversals and continuations. And we'll see how we trade off this 167 level, which ends up becoming very significant. And then just on intraday, we just want to show the power of this move after a gap up, a pullback, and then just a strong uptrend from a lot of positive catalysts and technicals.
So this is just a little slide. So Kyle does a really good job of this, and this was a day where it could have helped to have a back test where you can have it be pretty specific using the percent gap as well as the volume that it's done in the pre-market. And he helped me with this back test. And with that, if it was up 7% in the pre-market doing more than 500K volume, it broke above the pre-market high 2/3 of the time. And for those times when it did break above, the average move was about 3.59. So this is just helpful and could be extremely beneficial in the future for similar scenarios.
Exactly. It just gives you a little more conviction when you see a trade lining up with correlation to the data as well.
Yeah, not the end all be all.
If you guys have an idea you think long or short, in this market, maybe 100% long, maybe we should just forget about shorts entirely. I'm joking because there's money both sides, but it does seem like everything long tends to work out. I shouldn't exaggerate like that. But it feels that way. I should say it feels that way, right? Feels like
In a
all
way,
the
yeah.
longs work and all the
Definitely.
good shorts get squeezed. And so but maybe a really good idea is for you guys when you think you have something that can really run to the upside during the intraday, that you guys reach out to Kyle. Kyle said, until you're long. Yes, that's true. Until you're long. Everything works on the long side until you're actually long yourself. And then it's a great
That's
short.
exactly right.
Um, and so, good for you guys to reach out potentially and say, hey, I've got an idea. You want to systematize this. You fall to the level of your systems. So as we get ready to do goals for 2021, a lot of people think you've got to set really high goals, reach for the stars, feet on the ground, and if you set your goals really high and don't reach them, you've still done really well. For those of you who have read James Clear, for those of you who have listened to his recent podcast with the Seattle Seahawks performance coach, he talks about a really interesting idea, which is it's not the goals that you set and how high they are, but it's the systems that you put in place to help you achieve your goals. And so you always want to be thinking about a new thing to add to your routine that becomes a part of your trading system to help you get better. So maybe there's something you guys do where you send your best ideas over to Kyle and say, hey, can you give us some intel on whether or not this back tests pretty well? Certainly a good idea for you to learn what he's doing and then have that as part of your trading system. I've got a good stock. I think it can go up, not even based on a back test, but now let me back test it, get something else behind me, and see if I can trade better. Those things really add up. What if it turns out that you can make one more trade a month with double the size and hold it for double the move, just one a month, because you've added working with Kyle and getting confidence in his back test to help you do that? What if you just did one trade a month? What would that mean to you over the course of a year? And as you get bigger, those numbers are obviously going to go up. Those are the things that you want to be thinking about. Adding to my system, making my system better, because those little things that add P&L daily, weekly, monthly over the course of the year are going to get me that, are going to help me get to that extra level. All right, thanks guys. Keep going.
So we'll get into the reading the tape now for this trade. Just to give a quick overview of what this trade's kind of going to look like. We're going to be watching the start of the tape on the 1 minute around this 167 area where we really get interested in this trade, and then we'll kind of watch how the trend develops on the day. So here we go, bringing over the tape. So bottom left chart is the 1 minute of Disney, top left chart is the 5 minute of Disney, and this middle level 2 is for Disney, and this is the times and sales for Disney here with the green and red highlighted numbers with their times and sales. So we want to start off by highlighting, like we said, this 167 area. You can see we're trading around it a lot after this initial breakdown. We've made a higher low on the 1 minute over this 166 area. And now we're kind of seeing if we can get over and hold over this 176, which was kind of a pre-market consolidation for a potential reversal on the day.
And just to add, a key to this trade is finding that level where the price cannot hold below. And 166 was that for Disney today.
Definitely. Yeah, we can see we had our first big breakdown. It got under 166, rebid. It still held lower, but then that 166 held higher again, showing there's really some buyers there. And that's why I'm thinking if we see another leg in a consolidation, now we can get long, risking this like 166 area for a longer term trend reversal. So right here we're just kind of watching how the bids are holding up over 167 pretty well. Tape's gaining some speed and momentum.
Yeah, through view up as well. We're above.
Yes, VWAP is this blue line I have here around like 167.50 or 40. I put in my stop a little tighter than the 166 area because I got involved a little later than I wanted to, so my stop was actually kind of below this consolidation at like 166.59, which works out. I think Tim had a little bit of a better entry with a wider stop, which is normally what you want to look for, but I kind of didn't want to miss this trade as I knew it was really developing well.
Yeah, that's the good thing with it too. I was in on the first higher low, just risking low a day. But for scenarios like this that work well, the next following higher lows are all places to enter as well.
So this is a little bit of a slower tape as this trade does take some time to play out, but we're heading into this next resistance level of 168. So we want to see how it reacts there, and it kind of hits 168, pulls back, and then rebids quickly. So this is pretty important. I'll go back just a tad bit. So yeah, we were testing under 168, holding below it. You can see we're just consolidating in the range though. That 167.50 kind of held, and then we break through the level pretty cleanly. So for me, I'd sold a like fifth of my position at this point at 168.24. Just we're up about a little over half an ATR, and we did get through the next major resistance level, which could sometimes hold or stuff. So just taking little profits to pay myself, but still thinking this could reverse back through high a day to new all-time highs.
Yeah, definitely agree. That consolidation as well with the pullback that cleanly holds could be an area to add. And I added slightly there.
Then we'll just see the tape just keeps picking up to the upside, getting a little steeper, getting a little bit more buying volume on this candle than we've seen for previous 10 minutes or so. So the 5-minute charts holding higher over the 21 EMA and over VWAP. So there's a lot of variables here for a longer term trade that are really aligning that we can hold for a bigger price target because of that precise entry using the 1-minute chart and really seeing those higher lows in real time and the bids holding areas to give us places to enter and risk off of. Skip ahead a bit, as he said, a little slower moving. We push into 169, really holds there and just makes another leg. And this is just kind of the theme for this on the day. These pullbacks are all so shallow and get bought back up. I've sold a little under half my position now into this 170 area and trying to hold that second half for now new all-time highs through 171. So we are up about ATR, like 1 1/4 ATR now, almost 1 1/2. So that's another reason whenever full ATR is made, I often like take a little bit of profits. And usually when you see a move this steep, you would expect a little bit of a deeper pullback, but this is just so strong on the day and just gives us so much conviction to hold because all those pullbacks are so shallow. So now we can see, try and hold over that 170. Has to test below and get that pullback. Still feeling really comfortable about it though. As you can see on the 5-minute, it's still just holding higher in the range. Just needs to take a little time to find some more buyers before it can head to new all-time highs. And that's kind of what we see here as this first pullback from the breakout really gets bought back up quickly with very shallow volume on the pullback, which is another good indicator that not too many sellers got involved there.
Yeah, exactly what we want to see. Given the move it's made, we were expecting pullbacks, like Matt said too. So just being patient with our position.
Yeah, and I think one of the benefits to being in this trade together was we were able to keep each other in the trade longer and kind of remind each other, well, there isn't really a reason to take profits here. We have our trailing stop. We know this could easily take out new all-time highs, and being able to have that communication while in a trade together, I think just helps us put together the variables better just because we have more perspectives, and And that's really a big part of team trading. That's really beneficial, I think.
Yeah, that was a huge part of the trade. Completely agree.
So we'll skip ahead now. We can just see breaks out. We'll check out the breakout over the 171 level. It's pretty strong. It just comes right into the level and just breaks through. So this is 171 is the all-time high now. You can see these pullbacks on the bid are pretty shallow, 10, 20 cents at most.
New all-time high. That 170 level is going to become important on a pullback a little later, like 30 minutes after.
So you can see on the offer here at 171, there's a lot of offers stacked. So people trying to hold this down, stop it from breaking new all-time highs. So if these get decremented and we see they're actually getting hit and the orders are going off on the times and sales that these offers are getting decremented, then we're going to be feeling really good for this continued breakout. And you can see in no time they took those out. As soon as it hit 171, just that guy gave up, or whoever was trying to short there realized it just wasn't the price and just got taken out. And so I sold a little more into this new all-time high at like 170.80, and then just trying to hold for a longer trend.
Yeah, I did the same right there too, approaching that 171. And that's a red to green move as well on the day.
Then we can just see how we get our first major pullback after making this new all-time high. Fails to make a new all-time high, but then this pullback really holds that 170 area where we initially broke out from. Holds higher, low volume, and then the continuation to another new all-time high has a good volume spike. So another great sign of strength that this could hold on the 5-minute right on the 21 EMA, and see another leg.
Yeah,
So
on that pullback I added as well,
yeah, I
just from
didn't.
volume.
Yeah, Tim did a really good job of adding, and we'll see that on our trade reviews. I didn't quite have any ads in the trade because I had a little bit bigger size than I usually do, as I had a lot of conviction in this trade, so I think I was just letting my size work for me. But I'm just going to keep skipping ahead because really there's not too much to see on the tape other than the bids just can't step down. We're up 3 points now from the breakout with really no pullback. 5 minutes, all green candles now. Still good buying volume. So I'm fully out by this point. I think Tim's still
Same.
in. Or are you
I
out?
was out from 174.
Yeah, and we can see that because that was almost like over a 2 ATR move where we took our final profits, and it really goes to show though how far these things can move with all the right catalysts, and you can see here this
Matt,
volume
did you
spike
think
with.
about, when you go back and review this trade, do you go back and think about your exit, good exit, the stock just ran a little bit further, and when you're thinking about your trading system for this particular setup, hey, that's okay, that's going to happen? Or do you feel like maybe you took it off too early and you're thinking about ways not to do that going forward?
So yeah, I think for the first 2/3 of my shares, I was happy with my profit targets, but when we have such an extended move, I don't really have a reason to sell my very last portion into strength as much, in my opinion, when we see such a strong trend. So I should have just used a wider stop, on the like a hold under the 21 EMA on the 5 minute to get out of my last remaining shares. Because even if I just applied that rule with my last 1/4 shares at like 171 and just used that 21 EMA on the 9 minute, or 21 EMA on the 5 minute, then I would have captured an extra like 5, 6 points on the trade. So yeah, looking back, realizing that not always needing to sell into strength and sometimes just letting the stock work for you better and develop on the day is going to let you capture a huge portion of the move on your extra shares, which will really pay for your minor losses on the day and take advantage of when you're seeing a good trade. So yeah, definitely a little disappointing how early I got out of this one, considering how far it went from this area and how well we saw the initial entry. But for the most part, pretty happy. Just, yeah, need to better edit our rules to let the stock trend and develop on the day. And this is something I'm trying to work on just as a new trader too, because we're not always seeing all these days with great trends developing, and especially in December, things have been a little slower. So yeah, we were keeping that in mind as well, I think. How did you feel about your exits, Tim?
I was about to kind of just piggyback on that. The big thing here is there's no change in character for us to get out, and there's really no signs of weakness. So it does become hard where you want to take profits and capitalize on this outside move, but I think we have to do ourselves a favor and put in that trailing stop, like you mentioned, because it is our job to find these almost anomaly type aberrations and find those outside moves. So when they're still strong, just letting them work. And we'll talk about that even more with the review.
Exactly. So we can head into, we can just kind of see the trade management entering long on the 1 minute high or low while approaching that 167 resistance would be great. And then adding when it holds higher in the range. And then just selling with those reasons to sell, like we said. Sell into the previous all-time high. Sell into a full ATR move. Sell some more into a second ATR move. And then we should be selling our last 1/4 on a break below the near-term support, which also would have been the 21 EMA on the 5 minute around $176. So that would have kept us in the trade, as we said, much, much longer. So here's my entries and exits. So as you can see, sold purely into strength and missed this last portion where I could have easily used my trailing stop and stopped out around this 176 area. But otherwise pretty happy with how I took profits. Covered a little when it first worked, then into new all-time highs, then into an ATR move, and then just when I thought the move had been pretty overdone. My trade review pretty much, this all just kind of says what I just said about the trailing stop, and even maybe using those last 1/4 shares as an overnight swing is even a possibility on such a move like this.
So yeah, just looking at mine, the big obvious point to review is just I have to trust the trade, trust the entry, trust the catalyst, and not sell incrementally in this area around 168 to like 170, and just really play for those profit targets. But the positive were the ads, and then kind of just one thing we talked about was the exit strategy. And Mike, you asked us when we did take this trade, just how could we be bigger? And that's a big part of the review where this is an A+ setup. And at this point, I was only in 5% of my daily stop. So the simple solution is just bumping those percentages up for these A+ setups. And that just comes from being super specific with what I need to see. And when I do see those variables, it's my job to
Well,
put
how
the
much
risk
should
on.
you risk on an A+ setup? 20, 25%, 30%?
Yeah, that's what I have, 2025.
Okay, good. So when you spot an A+ setup, ask yourself the question, do I have 20, 25% of my intraday risk on?
Yeah, I will definitely do that moving forward. And kind of just talking about the swing trade idea as well. For something like this would be a great potential for either a joint account for an overnight swing or just both taking it separately in the future, given the catalyst and given the price action intraday.
Hey, go ahead and click our subscribe button so you don't miss any of the videos that we're producing for you in the trading community. And please take the time to add your feedback in the comments section for what videos you'd like for us to produce next and what you found helpful from this video. From all of us at S&B, train and trade well.